Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine having a direct line to a buzzing crypto community, watching, the real-time questions, the frustrations, yeah, the triumphs as a major token migration unfolds. That's exactly where we're headed today. We're diving headfirst into a whole stack of raw, unfiltered chat logs.
Indeed. And our core topic for this deep dive is a very recent, pretty high stakes token migration. We're talking about the shift from TRIAS to NetX. These candid community conversations, they really offer us a unique window. It gives essential insights into what it actually means to navigate such a complex transition, especially in the fast-paced world of digital assets.
Yeah, and what makes our sources so interesting, I think, are these like vibrant, unfiltered messages. They're from a really diverse global community, and you see them right alongside the direct, real-time responses from the project's own representatives.
It's an incredible view, really granular. You see the entire user journey.
Exactly. From battling technical glitches, just trying to connect a wallet, all the way to debating future price potential. And all the while, the community is collectively navigating this major shift within, a dynamic digital asset ecosystem. So our mission today is really to distill the critical info, the challenges, the solutions, and just the overall feeling, giving you a shortcut to understanding this pretty significant event.
And we'll be taking a neutral, objective look at all this information. Our focus is squarely on what was actually said, the specific challenges people faced, and the practical solutions offered. That includes solutions from the community members themselves and, of course, the project team. This way, we can examine the technical side, the financial side, and even the kind of emotional aspects of such a big event without taking sides. We're just reporting on the dynamics as they played out.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just, a simple name change or a rebrand. It's a full-scale token migration. We're talking about a process hitting countless token holders across different networks. The main event, obviously, is the shift from the old TRIAS token to the new NetX token. So what were people actually being asked to do?
Right. So primarily, users were pointed towards an official exchange portal. That was the place to swap their existing tokens. This covered TRIAS BP20 tokens, the Binance Smart Chain standard ones, ERC20 tokens, the Ethereum standard, and also these Ichigo placeholder tokens from the Huobi chain. All of those needed to be swapped for the new NetX token.
Okay.
And the key step, often a tricky one right at the start, was connecting your digital wallet, usually MetaMask, to this portal. And crucially, this connection had to be made on the Binance Smart Chain, BSC, the network known for much lower transaction fees compared to Ethereum.
And that's exactly where the user experience often hit its first, snag. The chat logs are absolutely full of users describing these frequent and frustrating issues right from the get-go. We saw tons of complaints about just difficulty connecting MetaMask, especially for people trying it on mobile or browser compatibility issues. Some said Chrome wasn't loading the site properly.
Yeah, classic issues.
Lots of users reported general errors too, freezing screens or buttons just not responding, like the Connect wallet or add token prompts. I remember seeing one person saying something like, my Connect wallet button just spins endlessly, no error, just nothing. Tried 3 different browsers and still stuck. It was pretty clear that not every setup worked the same way. It led to this patchwork of different tech problems.
These were definitely common problems. And the project representatives, acting as community managers in the chats, were pretty quick to offer troubleshooting steps. That alone tells you how widespread these issues were. The advice was usually things like clearing your browser cache, clearing your wallet cache, making sure both the browser and the wallet were up to date, or sometimes just try a different browser altogether.
Right.
One community manager actually listed off potential causes: browser not up to date, wallet not up to date, not connected to the correct chain, clear browser wallet cache, or try another browser. That covers a lot of ground. Some people were even suggesting importing their wallet seed phrase into a different wallet interface as a workaround.
Wow, okay.
What's really fascinating here is that this wasn't just a few isolated cases. The sheer volume of these recurring technical challenges, it really highlighted the incredibly diverse technical know-how and also the different devices people use within these crypto communities.
That's a really crucial observation. It just underscores how something that might seem straightforward on paper can quickly become a major hurdle in practice. So, okay, once users managed to navigate these initial tech workarounds, the next hurdle was making sure they were even on the right playing field, so to speak. Can you explain why the network choice was so critical here?
Absolutely. The importance of being on the correct network, specifically Binance Smart Chain, was a really recurring theme in the discussions.
Hmm.
If you use the wrong network, the swap just wouldn't work. Simple as that. The chats also kept highlighting the difference between the placeholder tokens, like TT for Phase 2 and TH for HECO, which were just temporary markers, and the final NetX token itself.
Got it.
And then on top of that, users often needed to manually add the new NetX token contract address to their MetaMask wallet after the swap, just to make sure the token actually showed up correctly in their asset list.
Right, another step. And as is pretty common in crypto, users also needed a little bit of BNB for gas fees to actually complete the transactions. These gas fees, they're basically the network transaction costs, right? The little bit of crypto fuel needed for any blockchain action.
Exactly.
This was definitely a point of confusion for some. You saw questions like, how much BNB should I buy? Project experts usually confirmed that a really small amount, maybe even just $1 worth, would be enough. But without it, even after figuring out all the other steps, the swap just wouldn't go through.
Yeah, and this brings us to a really significant operational insight, I think. To manage what must have been a huge volume of repetitive questions from all these issues, the project strategy heavily relied on directing users to pinned messages
Yeah?
and official tutorials, often found on platforms like Medium.
The pinned messages were mentioned constantly.
Right. These detailed guides were the main, sometimes the only, source of support for many common questions. And this really raises an important question for any project doing something like this. How do you effectively balance providing these comprehensive static guides with offering readily available, real-time, maybe more personalized support, especially for a global, multilingual user base that's navigating a complex technical process?
It's a tough balancing act.
It really is. And the chat logs clearly show the strain this put on both the users trying to get help and presumably the support system trying to manage the flow.
Okay, so moving beyond the individual users' sort of battle with MetaMask and networks, the bigger question for many was, where exactly are my tokens in this new landscape? And the migration path actually split quite distinctly depending on where you held your assets. It created two very different user experiences.
That's right. On one side, you have the centralized exchanges, the CEXs. For the big platforms like MEXC and Gate.io, the process was largely automated. These exchanges basically took on the job of doing automatic swaps from TRIAS to NetX.
Which must have been a relief for many.
Oh, absolutely. Generally good news for users holding tokens there. They didn't need to take any manual action, which simplified things immensely for them. Project representatives confirmed this in the chats. If your tokens were on a CEX, like MEXC, they'd be automatically converted.
Okay, but there was still a timeline involved, wasn't there? Which brought its own anxieties. The impending delisting of TRIAS from these exchanges, with trading set to close around August 30th, that was a key date people were watching. It prompted a lot of questions.
Definitely.
The community chats show a clear expectation, or maybe hope, that NetX would then be listed in a few days or maybe next week. But no exact date was pinned down, so that created this period of anticipation, and for some, a bit of uncertainty while their funds were kind of in limbo between the delisting and the new listing.
Yes, that waiting period can be stressful.
And there was also a question mark hanging over other associated tokens, like Giro, what was happening with their migration. Project representatives basically indicated they were working on it, which suggests maybe a staggered approach for related assets.
Right. So that's the CEX side. Then on the other side, you have the decentralized exchanges, or DEXs, and the legacy tokens still floating around. While some older TRIAS tokens, both the ERC20 and the old BEP20 versions, still showed some, albeit low, liquidity on DXs like PancakeSwap and Uniswap. Community experts in the chat strongly warned that trying to buy them at what looked like very low DX prices was, quote, not realistic.
Not realistic. Why not?
Well, because with the major CEXs delisting TRIAS, the price you see on these illiquid DEXs often reflects a very, very shallow order book. It's not a real, viable market price. If you tried to buy even a small amount, the price impact, how much your trade moves the price, would be incredibly high. Basically, your small purchase could drastically spike the price because there are hardly any sellers, or buyers for that matter. It makes that advertised low price effectively unreachable for any significant amount.
Ah, okay. So the price looks good, but you can't actually buy much at that price.
Exactly. It's a classic scenario illustrating the dangers of market fragmentation and low liquidity, especially during something like a migration. It's a critical lesson for any crypto holder. Always check the market depth and the actual trading volume. Those perceived low prices on illiquid DEXs can be a really deceptive trap.
That's a really powerful distinction. So for those still needing to migrate their placeholder tokens from their own wallets, did the project offer any reassurance about the timeline?
Yes, they did offer significant reassurance there. Project representatives confirmed multiple times that the migration period actually extends until the end of the year, specifically December 31st. This gives users several months to complete the swap, which definitely helps alleviate some of that immediate time pressure, especially for those still wrestling with technical difficulties.
Okay, good to know. Now, another huge point of discussion in the community was, naturally, the tokenomics of NetX. Concerns popped up about the new NetX token supply. The maximum supply is now set at 50 million, which is higher than before, right?
That's correct. But project experts in the chats were quite keen to clarify that the circulating supply of the tokens actually available on the market is expected to be much lower. They mentioned figures like less than 20 million, maybe even around 15 million or even lower.
So where's the rest?
The remainder, they explained, is strategically reserved for enterprises. This is a common allocation strategy, often used to encourage institutional adoption and build long-term utility, rather than just flooding the open market immediately.
Okay. And despite this increase in the total supply, the migration ratio itself was kept simple.
Yes, straightforward 1.1. One old TRIAS token gets you exactly one new NetX token.
But still, you can see why there was this community debate about whether the increased total supply would, halve the price or something similar.
Absolutely understandable concern. But the project experts offered reassurance, explaining that it won't change much. And this is a really crucial point in tokenomics. Raw total supply isn't the only thing that drives price. Factors like vesting schedules, which release those enterprise tokens gradually over time, and the really significant detail that any unclaimed tokens won't enter circulation. These things mean the effective circulating supply is tightly managed.
Right, so it mitigates that immediate inflationary pressure.
Precisely. The aim seems to be sustained growth based on utility, rather than risking short-term volatility from a sudden supply shock.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture.
Yeah, this careful management of the circulating supply and that strategic allocation for enterprise use, it really indicates a project trying to move towards a more robust, clearly defined ecosystem. The goal seems to be stabilizing the asset and aligning its value with its long-term utility. It suggests perhaps a more mature approach to tokenomics than you sometimes see. The strategy seems aimed at tying the token's value to real-world application and adoption, not just speculative market forces.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Beyond all the technical stuff and the numbers, these chat logs, they really reveal a truly vibrant community. Vibrant, but also often anxious. It's a fascinating look at the collective sentiment, the human element, during such a big change in the crypto world. We saw a real mix of emotions, didn't we? From excitement to deep frustration.
Absolutely. You could feel the relief and gratitude from people who successfully navigated the process. You saw messages like, received my NetX, and Hinko's situation went very smoothly thanks to the team.
Yeah, the success stories were definitely there.
But on the flip side, you also saw deep frustration from others hitting delays, confusion, or maybe just remembering past losses from the old token. Comments like, felt like we got rugged, or my patience today is drained down to the earth. And that poignant one, we were held for so long without being able to do anything but watch it go down. These really underscore the very real emotional toll this kind of transition can take on long-term holders. These aren't just abstract technical problems. They genuinely impact people's trust and, potentially, their financial well-being.
And in a moment of truly unique community flavor, we even caught a glimpse of the Calvo's Brotherhood.
Ah, yes, the Bald Brotherhood.
Yeah, this was this humorous, self-identified group of bald community members. Apparently, they bonded over the stress the old TRIAS token had caused them in the past. I saw one member joking in Spanish something like, "Somos un equipo que quedamos calvos por el estrés que nos generó TRIAS." We're a team that went bald from the stress TRIAS generated for us.
It's quite something, isn't it? A testament to the resilience, that shared experience, and the kind of distinct camaraderie that can form within these digital communities, even when things are stressful. A unique blend of humor and shared history.
Definitely adds some color. So when it came to price expectations and the market outlook for the new NetX token, what were people saying?
Oh, the predictions were all over the map. An extraordinarily wide range. Some people were forecasting more modest values, maybe the zero 0.6 to 0.7 USD range, explicitly linking that prediction to the increased total supply.
Okay, the cautious view.
Right. But then others were far more optimistic. We saw predictions like 30 to 90 USD, even 500, 1,000 in a couple of months, or just generally three-digit plus figures. There were even some very specific short-term targets floating around, like $5, $10 in September, 10 15s in October, and $15, $25 in November.
Yeah.
It really showed this mix of hope and, strategic speculation.
So what was driving all that optimism? What factors were people pointing to in the chats?
Several key things came up repeatedly. First, just the successful completion of the migration itself was seen as a bullish signal. Then, strong underlying partnerships were frequently mentioned. Names like Netstars and Huawei came up. Also, the clear focus on enterprise adoption was a big driver. People were drawing direct comparisons to projects like Ripple working with banks or Polygon partnering with major brands.
Right, aiming for real-world use.
Exactly. And also the potential for stablecoin and, significantly, CBDC, central bank digital currency integration,
Huh.
specifically mentioned in the context of Japan. The project seems to be explicitly aiming for mass adoption, envisioning millions of customers potentially interacting directly with stablecoins via the NetX blockchain, maybe without even realizing it. That shows a vision far beyond just being another speculative crypto asset.
Okay, but alongside that optimism, was there awareness of potential downsides like volatility?
Oh yes, definitely. Community members were acutely aware of potential volatility. There were discussions, even concerns, about a possible pump and dump scenario right after the new listing. And you saw repeated calls from community members for strong holding during that initial trading period to try and counteract any immediate selling pressure.
Hold the line, basically.
Pretty much, as one user put it quite well, on the 29th there may be selling and a lot of volatility. You have to be strong and then the good stuff will come. That kind of insight from within the community really underscores a shared understanding that those initial market movements can often be manipulated, and collective long-term holding is seen as vital for price stability.
Makes sense. So beyond just trading and price talk, what about community engagement and, importantly, security?
Both were huge themes. Project representatives and also just enthusiastic community members repeatedly called for active participation on social media, especially X, formerly Twitter. The stated goals were things like show our power, build confidence, and crucially attract fresh capital. It highlights that community engagement isn't just about creating hype, it's seen as directly impacting financial perception and the project's visibility. That's critical for attracting new investors and just maintaining market interest.
And security, always a big one in crypto.
Absolutely critical, and a constant refrain in the logs. Persistent warnings about scammers impersonating team members, sending direct messages, DMs, were a regular feature. Users were constantly reminded, only use official links. Never share your private keys or seed phrases under any circumstances. Block and report any suspicious activity immediately. This is just fundamental advice. You can't overstate it in this space, especially during a high-stakes event like a token migration where bad actors are actively looking to exploit any confusion or vulnerability.
Yeah, vital reminders.
Yeah, this whole process really raises an important question for all of us, I think. In this world of just information overload, what truly defines a project's long-term potential? Is it just the underlying technology, or is it also the resilience, the collective action of its community combined with, hopefully, transparent and consistent communication from the core team? The evolution of this project, clearly moving towards enterprise adoption and outlining a strategic vision, it suggests a more mature approach than maybe many initially realized. It seems to be balancing that tech innovation with effective community management.
Well, that was certainly a deep dive into the heart of a major crypto migration. From MetaMask mishaps and network complexities all the way to market cap projections and raw community feelings. We've really seen a living, breathing ecosystem in full swing, haven't we? Experiencing the highs and definitely the lows of a significant digital asset transition.
Indeed. The journey from TRIAS to NetX, just as we saw it unfold in these candid conversations, is a really powerful illustration of both the challenges and the opportunities in this constantly evolving digital asset space. It just underscores, again, the critical importance of clear, unambiguous communication, plus a robust, adaptable support infrastructure, and of course, vigilant security practices. These are vital for both the projects themselves and for every individual participant.
Absolutely. And the shift to NetX with its deliberate focus on real-world assets, enterprise adoption, that potential for stablecoin integration, it really does position it as a project with a significant long-term vision. Even if the road to get through the migration had its, well, inevitable bumps, it's just a vivid reminder that behind every token ticker, there's this complex, dynamic, and often very human ecosystem at play, driven by tech, by strategy, and by collective action.
And maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to mull over. As this market keeps evolving, how much weight do you personally place on community sentiment, which can sometimes seem chaotic, versus the underlying technology and the strategic partnerships when you're evaluating a project's future success? This deep dive really shows us both sides of that coin in vivid detail, highlighting just how intertwined all those factors truly are.
Great point. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Remember to stay informed, always check those official announcements, and always prioritize your digital security. We hope this exploration has given you a clearer picture of the complexities and dynamics involved in a major token migration, and perhaps sparked a few more aha moments for you. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll be here to unpack the next stack of knowledge for you.